My research question was, what impact will implementing augmented reality applications for reading scientific articles have on students' perception of models and engineering design? So I was really looking at models and having my students be able to identify what a model is, what a model is not, and that's where we got this idea. During our school year, my student growth goal was to have students be able to identify models and explain what a model was. So I asked them with a pre and post test to identify what they thought a model was. If they weren't sure, we went on from there. The action research for the grant was to focus on the relationship between student engagement and understanding or identifying scientific models as defined by the next generation science standards. And my research question, what impact will implementing this augmented reality application for reading scientific articles have on students' perception of models and being able to actually design those models? To address the research question, I had the students use the BlipR app, which is a free download they could put on their iPhones. We could put them on anything that has a camera that faces backwards. And they used it in the classroom on iPads. We had it downloaded on a iPad mobile lab so that we could have every student an iPad to use. And we brought models and engineering designs to life by changing a flat two-dimensional photo to a 3D image that literally they could watch, talk, move, carry on, whatever they wanted to do. My materials was the BlipR app, which you have to have. You also need the BrainSpace magazine, your mobile devices, and headphones were a necessity because when the students were watching it individually, they were looking at it individually, they were also listening to it. And they would be moving at different paces, so that made it a little more difficult. I do have some magazines I was going to pass around for you. I believe these are published in Canada, the BrainSpace magazines. And they come out quarterly, so I'll pass some of those around for you to look at. If you don't care. I only have the winter and the spring ones, so it's just two different types. Once you download this app, it actually takes a two-dimensional photo from the magazine, and it changes it to video. They can see the penguins on the cover, moving around, squawking, carrying on. They can literally see the mastodon or the mammoth moving around and dancing, basically, showing off in some cases. They're also using this app. I wanted to throw this out at you because they're using it in advertisement already. I bought a cereal box that's got Lucky Charms, the little guy on Lucky Charms, and he's dancing around. So when you go through the marketplace, if you see that little BlipR symbol, you can use your iPhone and it will bring Lucky to life and he will dance off the cereal box. Or the kids were so excited when they saw this because they had a bottle of Dr. Pepper and they had downloaded a trailer from the Superman Batman movie. And when you used your BlipR or iPhone, it would show you that trailer. It would literally bring it to life for you. The magazine is a Parent Choice Award Gold Medal recipient. Like I said, I believe it is published in Canada. It's only one that we could find that uses this augmented technology at this point. It comes out quarterly. It's expensive. For one subscription, if you just order it from the magazine itself, that'd be 4 magazines. Quarterly, like I said, it's $33 here in the U.S. and it's more than that if you get it in Canada. But they were so good to me because when I told them how much money I had to get a magazine, and I really thought I was only going to be able to get like the winter magazine for a classroom set, they said, oh no, we don't want to do that. So they really worked with me and they gave me a year's subscription, 25 magazines for about what it would have cost me for one subscription, one time. So they were really good. The first one was my winter magazine, and the article that we spent the most time on was called A Hero in Zero Gravity. And it was an autobiography by Chris Hadfield. He was a former commander of the International Space Station. He's from Canada. And we used our iPads to literally watch him talk to us off the page. And he also wrote songs while he was in space. I know a lot of YouTube things you can download where he's, showing you wringing out the washcloth and how the water acts in space. But he wrote songs and he sang them in space, so it had a little CD cover in the magazine article, and it literally sang his song to you, which was really interesting. Using this article as an extension, basically, Dr. Holbrook, our technology coordinator, was able to contact NASA, and we had an opportunity last week to Skype with NASA because we had talked, and downloaded this information, and they were so helpful. They really were. We told them what we wanted to talk about, and they talked to us about careers, which took us off in a different path, and they talked to us about our eclipse that's coming up in 2017, which was really interesting. But he was he gave us a lot of information, and one of the things that the kids were most amazed by when we talked about the careers, I'm going to tell you this very quickly and I'll go on, but he talked to us about 4 careers that best get you ready to work for NASA: scientist, medical doctor, engineer, and an educator. He said they have a lot of educators. He also said they have 2 people in Huntsville, Alabama that count deer all day. One of my boys wanted to apply for that, as you can well imagine. The magazine doesn't just have science articles in it. We had, in both magazines we've received so far, it's had a really nice social studies article as well. And then there's been a math article in both of them. So we can actually share that information with the rest of our team, and they'd be able to use that information. All the articles were valuable to identify text clues, which is one of the things that Dr. Holbrook talked to you about earlier. We wanted to be able to use it for more than one thing, obviously, at that price. And so we could actually pull out textual information from the articles and use it as a language arts assignment as well. We actually purchased 2 iPad Airs. Like I said, we downloaded the app onto a mobile lab, which we already had, but we purchased 2 iPads and we downloaded it on that in case one of them wasn't working or whatever, we could be able to use that. But the majority of students wanted to download it on their phones because they wanted to be able to check in the supermarkets and places where they would see this app, and I'm sure it'll become more prevalent as time goes on. They were really excited about having it on their own phones. This shows some pictures of actually what was going on. This is Commander Hadfield here, and the kids are using their iPads to watch him, to listen to him, share his information, what he did, and how he went about his day in space. Again, all the more reason why those headphones were very important, because I really hadn't thought about that when we ordered them, but it was a necessity. We gave a pre-test and a post-test, and my pre-test average for being able to identify a model was about 64%. They really weren't clear on what constituted a model. So after we spent some time talking about models, actually looking at this magazine and talking about this particular type of model, creating models of our own, our class average went up to 98%, which was an increase of about 34%, and all the students scored 70 or above on the post-test, which was what I was aiming for. This is a graph that shows each individual student, their original scores, and their post-test scores. And here's some pictures of our actual Skype session with Mr. Kempner, I think was his name. But he gave us a lot, as I said, valuable information about NASA and the fact that not a single career that we mentioned to him could he not say, we have these people working for us. Barbers in the facility. Nothing that the kids mentioned could he say, we don't have those people working for us, because they do. So in conclusion, my students enjoyed this new technology. Their scores on the post-test were dramatically higher, thus meeting our student growth goal, which was important. And I received a lot of supportive feedback from Mr. Estep, which is my principal, and people from the board office who came down to watch the students with this new information and new technology. The Paintsville Herald literally printed us on the front page of the paper, which really surprised us. The board office called and said, you're on the front page of the paper, and I said, do what? I was very surprised by that. And I guess that's it.